Today. It's about 7 a.m. over here in California time. So grateful to have all of you with us. Today, we're going to be focusing on our first town hall, which is something very exciting. We've been planning this for quite some time. Normally, we've communicated with the community in different spotlights and AMAs and that sort of thing. But today is a little bit special because we're transitioning into the Vitruvio Governance Council, and our kind of route of involving the community is to uh, conduct these town halls where we can get feedback. The community can participate in some of the motions that we're presenting to the community. We do want community involvement. We do need community feedback, and this is the tool that we're going to be using. Today should not last more than an hour, so we want to keep it brief and powerful. We do, in terms of the overall format, we will go through a brief introduction. We'll go through the town hall structure. We've provided links in the announcement page so everyone can participate. And the previous announcement also details the voting process. There was also a graphic that was submitted in the announcement where you can kind of see the how the council will be processing all of this information and voting on different measures. In terms of how we're going to be doing this every week, typically the government council as well as the mods have a meeting on Thursdays at 10 a.m. That's where we all get together and we discuss action items. We discuss the roadmap. We go through a lot of details. And for the past, I would say we've been meeting in mod meetings for, gosh, over about a year and a half. I think there's only been a handful of times where we haven't met. But we recently, with the advent of the new council, we've included them in the mod meetings, and we try to do everything together just to keep everybody informed on what's going on. And then if there's any sensitive information or anything like that, then the council stays behind for a meeting and discusses, other pressing issues. That being said, we will kind of get started here. My name is Mike. I am the current Chief Operating Officer of Vitruvio and a member of the Governance Council. We have a lot of people that are trickling in here. Today, we did want to record the call. We're going to do our best to figure it out, guys. This is my first time using Voices Space. I'm familiar with live streams and all of that, but this is the first time that I've used a Discord space, or at least let it. So give me some patience on if there's any bumps. We were able to install a screen recording bot, but they told me that it's going to take some time to implement. So bear with me on that. We'll do our best to have this call recorded. If it's not, if somebody else has the ability to record it, please do so and send it to the team, and then we'll get it done. In terms of how we're going to lay out this call, we're going to kind of go through just a little overview of the voting process, and then we can open it up for some Q&A, and then the results of the votes will get aggregated and then submitted. Um, the council will review next Thursday, and then we'll cast a final vote on some of the measures that we're proposing today. In terms of specific to this town hall, we wanted just to do a very informal kind of overview of, the town hall process. And the first item that we're going to be reviewing is confirming the community representatives for the governance council. We do want your feedback on the individuals that we've selected, and we do want validation of this. So um, in terms of, I kind of laid out all of the details on and requirements in the actual form of the council members. Obviously, they have to be KYC'd. They have to be a member in good standing. Um, they have to also attend the weekly meetings. The council is made up of 7 people, 7 members, 3 of which are the core team, which is, of course, Nick Caliani, myself, and Dotto. Then we have a community manager, Didi, who's representing obviously Vitruvio Exchange as well as the community interests. And then we have 3 community members that will be a part of the council. So that's kind of the structure. It requires any motion that we want to submit to the council requires a 5 out of 7 in terms of pass any motion. If it falls below that, it would be considered a fail. But sometimes we will review things, and it's quite possible that the motion that was submitted or the idea or the solution needs to be revised. So we may approve with revisions. And then all of the results of this will be posted in the minor updates, the following week. So bear with us. This obviously is going to be a little bit of a learning curve as we kind of build on this idea. So just expect that it will be a little bumpy in the first couple of town halls, but we will get it figured out. The idea is that a core team member not lead these. So, but we really would prefer that a community representative leads these specific town halls. So we'll be working that out. But I thought just because of the inaugural town hall, I'll go ahead and lead it and get things started. In terms of the actual voting process, if you guys go into the announcement section, you'll be able to click on that link. It is a Notion form. It should be a public form. If there's any problems with that, guys, let me know. I'm not going to be able to monitor chat right now, but I will open things up in a little bit and we'll be able to go through it. But in terms of the actual form, if you kind of go through it, I just want to take everyone through it if you haven't had a chance to see it. This is a form we built out in Notion. Notion is the central repository that we store all of the blockchain assets. We've had a chance, the team's been working hard on not only cleaning up all of the past commitments, as well as consolidating the business as an ecosystem and really reorganizing everything. We've had a chance to build a Notion repository and where we're consolidating all of the blockchain assets, the keys, the logins. We had a huge security risk in the past that we wanted to fix, and we really wanted to kind of organize all of this data. We don't want the data to be in one person's hands. We really do want it spread out between the members of the council. That way, if anything were to happen to a core team lead or anything like that, there are no miscommunications of what to do or where the assets are and that sort of thing in terms of all of the different logins, the IDs, the keys, all of that stuff. We did set up the Treasury multi-sig, so all of that is set up, and all of the council members have submitted their KYC. So all of that is done. All that's left is to confirm the nominees. And then moving forward, these will probably be a 6-month term, possibly a 12-month term. We're going to see how it goes, but we will reevaluate at the year end. In terms of qualifications, what would disqualify somebody is you really don't have the experience to be on a crypto blockchain. That would be one issue. A member that's not in good standing, meaning they're just not, cohesive with the rest of the team. They're constantly a problem in the community. That would be eligible for disqualification. They should have the respect of the community. So the community does have some say in this. We did have I guess one person asked if this is going to be anonymous. We chose not to make it anonymous for a number of reasons. Don't worry, there's nothing punitive. You guys can speak your mind. There's no issues with any of that. But one of the issues that we were running into is that we did want to, Notion doesn't necessarily allow you to make a public form anonymous. So we had to kind of submit that within the form. The other issue that we had was the we're actually requesting the community's help on certain roles that we're kind of trying to scale and build the team to a temporary to perm situation. So if you are interested in joining the team, there will be a section on the form itself that you guys can fill out and submit any requests. These are a temp to perm positions. So if you do have qualifications in some of the areas, I think we listed a social media manager. We're looking for one of those actively right now so that we can kickstart the social media. If you'd like to join the council, go ahead and submit your qualifications and we'll go through that. If you want to join one of the verticals, such as exhibit blocks or the B2B vertical, project onboarding team, um, if you want to apply for a moderation position within the Discord, if you want to be a part of the webmaster team, you want to be a developer, you want to apply for a core team role, which would be a CX role, such as a CFO or a chief product officer. Definitely submit your requests there, and then we can set up a private meeting. And of course, if you want to join the legal team, that and you have a legal background, then that's something that we would consider as well. There is an other section, so if there's something that we've missed, or you have certain abilities or talents that you think could really strengthen the core team, please submit that, and we'll definitely review. In looking at the actual Vitruvio Governance Council community election, which is obviously this one, the Vitruvio Governance Council is the new leadership framework for the Vitruvio blockchain. It's really designed to ensure balanced representation for the community, additional transparency and accountability in decision making. We've proposed the following community members for council positions and are now conducting an election for the community representative seats. As I mentioned before, we have three core team members, one community manager, and three elected community representatives that will be on the council. And obviously the goal is to structure this in a way where just give me one sec. Where we want to balance everything out, and we don't just want yes men on the team. We really do want people on the specific council that will give a very balanced approach. We need the community representatives to really fight for the community's needs and wants. We're not interested in overpowering them. We really are interested in a balanced approach. Obviously, the success of the blockchain has to come first. So if somebody is submitting a proposition or a motion that we feel would hurt the business, obviously that's not going to pass, but we will provide the reasoning for that. In any event, let me just get back to this screen here. Okay. Um, in terms of the roles, as I mentioned before, elected representatives will serve as the voice of the community in all major blockchain governance matters. So they'll participate in the weekly council and mod meetings every Thursday at 10 a.m. PST. They'll receive full updates on project developments, financial reports, and governance matters. So if you do want specific updates, you can always reach out to somebody on the council. Start first, obviously, with moderator, and then build up to a council member if you're not getting your question answered. And we actually do have a form that we've published in the announcement section that if you want a specific question or if you don't want to go through DM, go ahead and submit that. They will be actively reviewed during the weekly council meetings. And we'll aggregate the data because sometimes we're going to get multiple and duplicate information on those, and we want to make sure that we kind of filter through that. So we're gonna kind of try this out. If it's manageable, we'll use that system. If it's not working, where it's too labor intensive, then we'll figure out another option. But for now, that's kind of the way we're going to do it, just to get things started. As I mentioned, all council members are fully doxed, name and address, and a printed identification, such as passport or driver's license. The core team is also fully doxed with records securely stored in the blockchain repository. And in terms of who we are nominating, we've nominated Tart Madman as to be one of the community representatives. Tart Madman's been a longstanding member with Vitruvio. I think he was here since day one. He is doxed with a team. He is a creator and represented the community's interests for the core team in over 3 years. Um, we've always gotten a very balanced viewpoint from Tart, and he's not afraid to speak his mind. He's not afraid to fight for the community's needs as well as the success of the blockchain. And we felt that he adds a lot of value to the core team in terms of giving us that balanced approach. So we definitely nominated him. Tasman, many of you know, is also a longstanding member and good standing with our community. He is doxxed with the team. Tart Madman is also doxxed with the team and has supported the back end development. Tasman actually does a lot, you guys, for the community. Many of you may not realize this, but he provides a lot of voluntary development assistance in various projects on chain, as well as the protocol itself. He's worked on the decks with Vitruvio Exchange. She's worked with Nick on a lot of projects in order to, just provide additional assistance, and we've really valued that, and so that's why we nominated him due to his development background. We There are times when we come up to situations where we don't want to necessarily exhaust any funds or allocate any funds for development at this time, just because we're really trying to be conservative and responsible, with money right now. And Tasman's really assisted with that, which has been great. Captain Blackbeard is also a longstanding member. He's been with us for quite some time. He's a seasoned corporate guru. He's really, really incredible. If you haven't had a chance to get to know him, get to know him. He's an awesome guy, and he's provided us with a lot of sound advice, no BS, and we've really valued a lot of the feedback and input that we've gotten from him. In terms of the other, obviously we are a startup. We are obviously been in production and building for the last 2 or 3 years, but we're at the point where the blockchain is fully complete. The GETH upgrade is complete, and now, as part of our ongoing roadmap, we're now building out the verticals. We do have a number of verticals that we're scaling. Obviously, most of you know that we started with Exhibit, which is our art vertical, and then we added Vlox Studios, which is our gaming vertical. We really see Vlox going in a number of directions. We've been having meetings, and we're building an advisory board for Vlox, and it is going to be a Web 2 mobile gaming studio that will have Web 3 back elements. And so we've been building that out. The marketplace is in development right now. Our first title, AI Wars, is in development right now. And right now we will be announcing the pre-sale of the Vlox token, as well as some of the other fundraising efforts that we're going to do for the development. AI Wars is probably going to cost about 175,000, somewhere around there, to build out the game. It's going to take about 6 months to get done. We're through the first milestone where the developer has put together. We've hired a gaming studio in order to build out the first title. They're a very, very popular global mobile development studio. The first phase of development was, of course, building out the gaming design document, the concept, going through all of that. We're now at the stage where they're building out the artwork and the screenshots for the pre-sale. Once that is complete and we can get a successful fundraising, then we'll then transition into building out the actual game itself. If anybody wants to see the gaming design document, we can definitely produce that. It's about 114 pages. It's quite extensive and detailed, way more detailed than obviously the light paper, but that's progressing nicely. And then we have a new addition, which is the B2B vertical. The B2B obviously stands for business to business. It's really designed as an enterprise solution. um, we do want to capitalize on AI and RWA and some of these blockchain solutions for Web 2 companies. And Dado, our chief strategy officer, he has a huge, huge connection within the European banking system and financial system. He's been a CSO, a CPO for a number of various blockchains and projects. And he's working on a lot of really interesting B2B enterprise solutions for Vitruvio. He has currently somewhere in the neighborhood of around seven different companies that he's talking with about building a B2B solution, focusing on RWA and tokenization of assets. And we're very close to signing a deal with two of them. So that's going very, very well. And then we have, of course, The third party projects, which we're starting to see more and more of those come aboard. We built a project onboarding team led by Milky. He's been doing an amazing job. I've really been impressed with him. He's taken on the role very seriously. We've been conducting almost weekly meetings with new projects that are looking to build on chain. One of the things that we're focused on is really trying to bring in projects that have their own marketing team. We love community projects, but we really do want projects that have a serious white paper, a serious use case, and are interested in really scaling. They have their own communities that they want to bring into Vitruvio. It's a balancing act because obviously newer projects they may want grants, or the traditional route you would do a hackathon or something like that to onboard new projects. We're not at that level yet, but at this time we are interested in scaling with various projects, and we've had a number of really great meetings with new projects that are interested in coming on board. If you go through some of the other options. You can check them out. Definitely come aboard. If we've missed anything on the actual form, just go ahead and throw it in the comments and suggestion, and we can kind of go through that. So that's kind of an overview of all of that. If you'd like, you can go ahead and submit your vote for those members. The way it works is go ahead and type in yes or no. If you hit no, it'll ask you for another nominee and the reason for your nomination. Please keep in mind that in a perfect world, you wouldn't nominate yourself, but if you do, um, we do want kind of an understanding of why you would think that you or this other person would be a better nominee. They obviously do have to accept the role, and they have to be open to the weekly meetings at 10 a.m. on Thursday, as well as the responsibilities of being on multi-sig for the Treasury, as well as being KYC. So these are all things that it's a very serious role, and it's something that we take very serious. So please be mindful in your nominations. And as always, we appreciate any support. I think that's kind of an overview of where we are today. What I would like to do is open it up at this time for any questions. The questions, please keep them brief. And if you can, what we'll also do is I, I can give very quick answers on verticals, but we'd prefer that we have questions that are really applied to more of the blockchain itself. As you know, we've been separating discords. We really do want the blockchain to have its own discord and other verticals such as Vox, the B2B, as well as Exhibit, and Vitruvio Exchange and some of these things to have their own block discord server. We really do want to kind of purify things and keep things separate. There are all of the verticals that we have, such as Exhibit Walks and B2B, are independently led by core team members. So they are treated as third party projects, even though they are native third-party projects. So we do want to kind of start that separation where people can go to their respective discords to get information on those particular projects and verticals. And then that way we can kind of purify and clean the Discord server really to stick to protocol specific questions. But if you have one, feel free to let us know, and we'll do our best. I may not have all the answers today. There may be certain questions that are just great, and I don't have the answer off the top of my head. Give me some time, and I'll get that answered for you. I think the space is being recorded, so we'll be able to circle back and take some notes as well. So at this time, let's go ahead and open it up. So I've got, you can go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll go ahead and call on you if you want to come to, if you do have a question. Okay, Dr. Rao, you're on the stage. Welcome. Just make sure you guys are unmuted. Dr. Rao, are you there? And if you guys are having problem, you can also type your comments in the chat as well. And if you'd prefer not to come on stage, I'm happy to go through some of the comments as well. Guardian Line, welcome to the stage.
Hello. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can.
I don't have a question. I'm not new to the Discord, but I'm just now kind of I'm here now. I'm basically just saying hi, everybody. It's nice to meet you guys.
All right, well, great to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anybody else that had any general questions that like to enter the chat? Any comments? Even if you guys just want to say hi, it'd be great to connect with some of you. Also, just check your audio settings. Yeah, somebody asked about why Nick isn't here. So to be honest with you, we really wanted this to be a space where people could talk openly. And I technically did not want to lead today, not because I didn't want to, but we really did want the core team not to be on this call and really allow feedback from the community in order to have your voice and make you guys feel comfortable where you guys can and talk freely, talk about any current issues that you'd like to submit, all of that different things. And I think sometimes it can be a little awkward if the core team is on. So we've requested that the core team not be on the town halls. Moving forward, that will be the case. But for today, I needed to lead the call because there were a few people that were out of town. Yeah, it will take a little bit to get used to. No, the town halls are not going to replace the spotlights. The town halls are just going to be really community specific, where we're going to talk about housekeeping issues and governance issues, and that's a public forum in terms of YouTube is probably not the best tool for that. So we've elected to get into private Discord for the community and really host them there. Any other questions, comments? Do you guys want to get into any verticals, anything like that? Dr. Rao has wanted to come to the stage. Welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Great, great. And good morning and hello to the entire community. Mike, thanks for the update and the town hall. I'm looking forward to what's going to move forward from here. But from what I would like to say is that the people that have been elected into the community, that you've been elected into the council, I'm actually pretty happy with those names because I see them most of the time, and I think these are people who actually speak some sense, all right, not to offend the rest.
Yeah.
And also as a person who's been there, I mean, everyone like to say from day one, I've been there from the beginning as well. But I've always been silent in the background, so we know actually who is speaking their mind and who's making sense out there. And people like me, who's also quite heavily invested, I would say, we just don't want to say things. We just want to see things happen. And the names that you have actually highlighted in the community, I'm happy with that. For one reason, personally, you don't know all these people. If tomorrow someone's going to put another name, I will never know who they are, and I wouldn't know who I would have to vote for no reason. You know what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah.
I feel a sense of comfort when the core team and the people in the community and people like me who's been daily on my Discord. Okay, I'm on my Discord every day, so I know who is saying things not only on this side, on the other sides as well, even Sabong. And I'm also in other crypto, one or two other platforms. When I see the same similar familiar name, always commenting positively. So these are the people I would want to vote for. And I think for a start, I would vote for the team that you've already have in here right now. and then we could see how they perform, and I believe they will perform, and then go on from there. That's my take. And thank you so much for having me on the stage. Really appreciate that. Cheers.
All right. Cheers, Dr. Rao. Thank you again for joining us, and thanks for being a part of the community. Tate had a question where he states, in the interest of cleaning up the ecosystem, why is there so much pushback to create an exhibit Discord?
Hello.
So
My name is Alonzo Mitchell. I'm CEO for Guardian Line. I've
oh,
watched for a long time, and I've watched this community build itself out of a lot of tragedy. I've watched you overcome many things that destroyed other blockchains. They could not pull themselves out of the mud. I agree with the doctor's election of who has been duly elected to the council and for this team. I believe wholeheartedly in their abilities, and I definitely agree, especially with Tartan. I've seen that guy for a long time. I've watched him since Seifu, if I'm not mistaken. He was really nice to me. You guys are doing a great job. Keep up the hard work.
thank you, Guardian. I appreciate it. Just circling back, there was a request or a question, I should say, about having Exhibit have its own separate Discord. We actually did cover that in the last council meeting. And the first step for that is a lot of the creators are in Telegram. So Nick has made the decision to start the community, or I guess maybe expand on that, and then he'll scale into his own Discord. So that's going to be the plan. We will start to see scaling back of various channels within the blockchain Discord, and that way everybody can go to their respective communities if they're interested in maybe just being a part of one particular community, such as Vlogs, or because that's where all the announcements are going to take place, and moderation and all of the most recent answers are going to be. So we totally support that, Tate, and that's in the process. We're in development of that right now. We'll give people a little bit of time just to come in. If you just want to say hi, I see a lot of familiar faces that have been in the community for a couple of years, which is great. Hey, Milky, I'm going to invite you to the stage if you don't mind. Do you have if you have the ability to talk? I just wanted you to kind of give an overview of the product onboarding team, and really just talk about your experience, and maybe provide a couple of developments if you're okay with doing that. I'm just going to add you. If for Oh, you can't talk. Okay, that's fine. No worries. Mystique, are you able to get that sorted? Yeah, Vitruvio Man asks about the website. So um, the we're we're kind of going back and forth on whether or not we were going to adjust the brand. As it stays, we will go ahead and keep the brand as it is. We'll make subtle adjustments, and then we'll do a completely new brand style guide as we kind of scale. But for now, the branding is going to stay the same for Vitruvio. In terms of the website, it is in development. Funkmaster is kind of spearheading those efforts. Unfortunately, had to go on vacation for 3 weeks. So I've been working with him remotely. He is on vacation with his family, so I'm trying to respect that time. But the website is looking great. We're just fine tuning the content and the graphics, and that should be up and running here in the next week or two. I'm hoping to get it done in the next week or two. So I'm kind of helping him with that, spearhead that, and we should be live again. So thank you for your patience on that. We don't want to just throw out a splash page. We really do want it to be more in line with the branding. Has to switch a little bit because obviously we came from the art world. That was kind of our ethos in the past, but now as we're expanding into gaming as well as B2B, we really do have to have more of a, a little shift in terms of the B2B narrative. So we needed to work on the B2B a little bit because we are ready. we're already in talks with a couple of companies and possibly going to letter of intent. So we have to set up a separate brand for the B2B, have that integrated with everything. And so that's the reason why it's taken a little bit of time. But thank you. Yeah, Mystique, I don't know why it's saying you're denied. You're okay on my end, but if you wanted to type your question in the chat, we can definitely go through it. Yeah, we are working on updated roadmap for each vertical. So that's really up to those dedicated team leads. Much of which is, kind of ties back to Vitruvio Man's second question in terms of development and making money. One of the biggest things that we're focused on right now is revenue. We're not interested in living off seed capital. We've kind of been down that road, and we really want to get out of the seed capital phase where the business is self-sustaining. The first step that we've taken as a council is to cut costs. If you guys remember, we had, I don't know, 2.5 years ago, when I was a community member, our burn rate was roughly 179,000 a month. We had maybe 15, 20 people on the team. We had a full legal team, full marketing team, and all of that. That's when we had the UC funding, and we kind of scaled the team with the anticipation of getting everything scaled and ramped up. Um, and development was just slow going, and I think it was uh, rough because we can only keep so much money in the treasury, and when you have a burn rate that high. I went through a lot of those expenses with Nick. They were all, fairly reasonable. I think maybe just we had two VCs that were in place. One was about a year ago, or 2.5 years ago, that was coming forward with a $5 million investment, but then they found out about the previous founder and of Vulcan, and it just kind of killed the deal. In terms of a second one, we had a similar issue. So we really had to shift and then reduce the burn rate. So that's when you saw the team was descaled and reduced in order to cut expenses. At the stage we're at now, when I came aboard, obviously I was kind of taking things more from a corporate approach. I went through all of the books, and we started trimming the fat, so to speak, and going through and cutting costs. One of the biggest costs that we have as a blockchain is the AWS fees. It's probably around 7,500 a month, somewhere around there. And we're One of the solutions that we had was whenever we were scaling Exhibit into its own independent vertical, is splitting off all of that into its own AWS account. So Nick has been working on getting his own credits, and then that way we won't have the cost of Exhibit on the blockchain. We do want to isolate all of the fees of just the blockchain when it comes to subscriptions. I think we were paying around 1,200 a month for Collabland. We had a few salaries that were modest. Those have been removed. So really, we're trying to get the monthly expenses for the blockchain in the range of around 5 to 10,000 max. We're kind of at that stage right now. And that was the first stage, is cutting costs. The second was to create revenue streams from the various verticals and have them kind of carry the blockchain until the blockchain can be sustainable with the treasury and that sort of thing. We did obviously try to, list the token and go from there. But we really weren't seeing, when, most of you know that when the team decided to list the token on Weeks, we wanted to, we felt the need that we had to manage the supply in order to have that price appreciation. We did that, but some felt that it was a too centralized approach. So we said the only problem is if we don't have a centralized approach on the actual token supply, we're going to run into hyperinflation, and we're going to have an inflationary token. and the price is going to drop. If it does, that's a free market. So we let the token go. We removed all the bridge restrictions, opened everything up, and that's what happened. So at this point, we shifted our strategy to focus purely on cutting costs and creating revenue streams from the various verticals. And then the next step will be to be doing working on the supply, which is the treasury buybacks. Fortunately, with the price being so low, it's going to be a lot easier to do that. Then we can get the supply in check, and then we can start scaling the price. So that is kind of our strategic shift that we're going through, and we feel pretty confident that that's the right strategy at this point. But honestly, the to be fully transparent, the cutting costs and creating a revenue to cover the burn rate is our number one priority. Things like tennis shoes and some of these other things. Yes, they were previous commitments, and we're doing our best to fulfill all previous commitments. But to be honest with you, the priority right now is to cover the burn rate, so that we have a stability, and we have a responsibility really to create a revenue stream and an MVP that produces that, and that's our number one priority. The low hanging fruit will be the B2B, because we do have, as I mentioned, two companies that we're in talks with to create specific products for those businesses, those Web2 businesses, and it's progressing really nicely. Dado has done an amazing job, and that's at least just one source of the revenue. There are additional revenue streams that we're looking at, both with Earn as well as Yieldable, and we're entertaining a subscription model for the Vitruvio, where the Treasury will sell Vitruvio at a certain price to build up the Treasury, so that we can, obviously pay the monthly bills and that sort of thing. So that's all, in the works, and we should have some developments on that in the next couple of weeks. In terms of financial transparency, everyone on the council is on the multi-sig, and everyone has access to financial data, financial updates. So all of that is transparent with the council, including the three community representatives. So if you have certain questions, then that's something that is discussed on a weekly basis. Um, in terms of exhibit on the POD, I don't have an update on that. That really would be a Nick question, but from my understanding, things are progressing well, and they're adding additional products to the marketplace. So that's all going well. Um, with the transition to B2B, what is the overall plan, high level for exhibit, movies, etc.? So B2B, it's not really a transition to B2B. These are things that are happening concurrently. So obviously, Nick is at the point where he's scaling exhibit right now and focusing purely on the art buyers. With the movie vertical, with Flix Fund, I'm still very much interested in that vertical for Vitruvio. It's just that we need to obviously scale responsibly. And I think one of the mistakes we made in the past is taking on too much. But the problem with that is we were relying on seed capital. So, creating a new product to raise funds, and then trying to build it out. We just didn't have the resources in order to do that. So part of the transition that we moved in this year was really to stop development and really focus on the MVPs for each vertical. And the first one for exhibit was going to be print on demand. That produces revenue. And so that's what we introduced with that, not just art sales, but real products that retail and other artists can purchase. And so that generates revenue. And that's kind of a Web2 product, and it's not very common in the art space in Web3 to have a print on demand feature. So that's one MVP that we focused on for producing revenue. For B2B, obviously that's a brand new vertical. So we're actually going to be building products for Web2 companies that are looking for tokenization of assets and payment, rails, and all these different solutions. Also RWA. We do want to kind of expand into AI as well. But the first one we're focusing on is direct launch pads for Web2 companies and tokenization and RWA. That's going to be our primary MVP for the B2B. And for the movie vertical for FlixFund, I think once we get some traction on dealing with the revenue, we'll then expand into that. We just need a dedicated lead for that. And so once we're at a point where we have, well, we're solvent, we have traction, we have stability, we'll then scale into that additional vertical. So that will be coming soon. In terms of locks, obviously the MVP is going to be AI Wars. Um, AI Wars is progressing really nicely. We're really excited about it. There's a lot of really cool things that are coming down the pipeline for that, all of which will be announced very soon. It's just a lot because we have to build out the marketplace. We have to build out, we have to do trailers, we have to do the artwork. And I think we're on our version 3 right now for the artwork for AI Wars with the developer team. And we've been working with the art director in order to really fine tune the look of the characters, and so that's been progressing nicely. Just going through the comments here to see if anything. Yeah, I've seen a lot of feedback on Yieldable that it's really progressing nicely. Phantom's done a great job on spearheading that, and we're definitely looking to do a partnership with them in terms of revenue. Yeah, Vitruvio Exchange is still working. As you know, we've shifted from our native DEX to handling all of our DEX and trading activity on Vitruvio Exchange. For information on that, you can reach out to Didi. But the DEX the old DEX is going to be deprecated, and we're migrating everything over there. So if you have any liquidity pools or anything, you can, um, you know, reallocate that money. But I don't think there's much in there right now, but the exchange is going really well. Just going through the chats here. Um, Mystique Arco said that you should be able to speak now. Let's bring you to the stage. Welcome, welcome. Let's see, do you have the ability now? I still see you muted. I'm just going to leave you up there, Mystique, and hopefully we can get that sorted. Yeah, so Airborne asked the question, what is the strategy to building liquidity for Vitru? So obviously these are, whenever you're putting out a fire, you have to deal with the biggest fires first, and then you kind of focus on scaling. The most important thing right now, as I mentioned before, is focusing on our MVPs to cover burn rate. I'm not interested in constantly being stuck in seed, where we're constantly trying to offer a new product to raise capital to pay for AWS fees and dev fees. There was a lot of development costs going to Exhibit. That stopped, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 months ago. So Exhibit is financially independent of the Vitruvio blockchain, and all of the burn rate is purely burn rate for Vitruvio and not any particular vertical or anything like that. So that goes for blocks as well. That goes for B2B. We don't want any of the revenue produced by the blockchain going to any even native vertical, so they can do their own raises and that sort of thing. And if you wanted to invest in any particular one product, then you can go that direction. But in terms of an infrastructure at a protocol level, we want to keep that financially independent and keep in separate treasuries for everything. So Blocks will have its own treasury. The protocol will have its own treasury. And that's kind of what we're focused on. Once we get the burn rate covered, which we're confident in the next 30 to 60 days we'll have that sorted. At that point, based on the deals that we're talking, we should have enough for potentially a 6-month runway possibly a year, just depending upon how those deals are worked out. But as it stands, we're looking as soon as we have that a big fire put out, then we're going to be focusing on scaling the coin. Obviously, in terms of liquidity as well as price action, trading, that sort of thing, it doesn't take much to move the price right now with low liquidity. That can be a good thing and a bad thing. But we do want, while the price is low, to do some form of a treasury buyback to get the supply in order. The supply right now is really out of whack. As you know, the supply has always been my kind of battle. That since I joined the team about a year ago, that's something that I've really been concerned about. If you want price action, you need a scarcity. You need a low supply. We have a low circulating supply and a low max supply, but the amount of supply that's in the hands with low liquidity is counterproductive to any marketing effort that you do, because as price pumps, it just gets sold and momentum gets eaten up. So I'm going to be focusing as soon as we shift and get the fundraising for the actual video game. We will be doing a public raise for that. We will be doing a blocks token raise for AI Wars. That's independent of Vitruvio. And if you're interested in that, you're welcome to be a part of it. But we are interested in scaling that outside the community and really getting involved in other communities, really to spearhead that. Gaming, Web3 gaming really had its heyday in 2017, where it was a pure Web3 gaming. I really see things based on all of my studies and research that a hybrid model is going to be the future, where you have a Web2 game that has a Web3 backend and play to earn elements. Most Web3 games are not fun. They're built around tokenomics. They're not built around the gaming experience. Mobile gaming, uh, it far exceeds PC and console gaming, including PlayStation, all of that. It's a multi-billion dollar industry, and we're looking to capitalize on that with Web3. So that's really what we're going after in terms of locks. It's not just the games, launching games. We really do want to, in the ecosystem, um, we want kind of have a three parts of the ecosystem. Obviously, Blocks will be its own native gaming studio where we'll develop our native games. The second is offering tools where developers can come in and build their own games using AI and that sort of technology, and we really want to leverage that. I really see Vlox as becoming a studio where if you have an idea, a gaming idea, and you want to go to market with that and use our tools, then you can do that. The third thing is equity ownership, where if somebody doesn't want to lead a game, they have an idea, but they want equity ownership in a game, we'll build it out and then we'll partner up. We will obviously be hosting other gaming studios. We've had some great talks with other games that are already listed that are doing quite well, but they're still kind of in their scaling phase. They've expressed an interest in joining Blocks, so we're interested in onboarding that. And all of this creates volume, vibe contribution, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's an easy question, but a complicated answer. But it is going to be liquidity is going to be one of the biggest things that we're going to be focused on. As I really see, if you were just to ask me in a bar, like, hey, what do you think's going on with liquidity? What's your plan? I would probably tell you that, the priority is going to be burn rate. Then focusing on the MVPs. Once we get significant capital from one of our MVPs, where it scales, then we'll probably do treasury buybacks through OTC to build up the treasury, reduce supply. And then from there, then we will transition into marketing and scaling liquidity. So those are kind of the things that you know macro level. That's kind of what we're looking at. In terms of the plan for Vitro, Vitro is going to be listed on the DEX on Vitruvio Exchange. We had a number of meetings about Vitro over the past month. Obviously the priority was trying to figure out the utility for that. We do want to make it the official DEX token of Vitruvio, but it's a little complicated because we have Vitruvio Exchange and their DEX token. I think the ultimate plan is to, as a temporary fix, because the Vitruvio Exchange DEX is so much more powerful than our native DEX, because we had a V1, I think, Pancake Swap DEX. They've got charting, they've got so much more on the Vitruvio Exchange, which is obviously a native product, third-party project for Vitruvio. Our plan is to, eventually come out with a fully scalable DEX. Um, but that's but for now we will be unstaking, get all the verse Vitru stuff worked out, get that cleaned up, and get it stable on the Vitruvio exchange. And then at that point, we're going to scale it. But there is the utility right now for Vitro is going to be the staking. Um, all stakers of Vitro receive 5% of the fees of the Vitruvio exchange in USDC pull. So it's a huge benefit. That's a massive, I think it's 100x from what we were offering initially with Vitruvio back whenever we launched the DEX token. So it's a huge improvement, and I think a great temporary solution until we get all of that worked out. Questions on calculator? Yeah, the calculator, the previous Vibe calculator, it's a little redundant at this point. Obviously, the initial calculator was, hypothetical projections based on Exhibit and Vortex and a lot of things that have changed quite a bit. So I think we talked about a new calculator, I don't know, maybe a month ago, revisiting that. It's just time to get it done. So in terms of Exhibitina, thanks for your question. I think Nick is just getting everything sorted on Telegram. And we had a meeting yesterday where we talked specifically about Nick's plan for Exhibit and some of the things that he's been working on. Nick has been really tied up with this transition of transitioning out of CEO into more of a CTO role. And obviously, he needs all hands on decks to really scale Exhibit. One of the reasons why Exhibit is been scaling back a little bit is because Nick is just torn in so many different directions. We felt that whenever we transitioned into once the blockchain was complete, Nick's role as CEO was complete, and now he can kind of focus on building out Exhibit. The problem is that um, he's still a little bit divided into 3 or 4 different projects. So these are contract projects. So once he wraps up that project, his focus is purely going to be on Exhibit, which is obviously the goal. Okay. Yeah. So getting to, I think Mystique's question had more to do with concerns about the actual voting to be anonymous. Um, I'll look into it, Mystique. To be honest with you, the original concern was obviously just because we didn't want duplicate votes or someone botting it or something like that where it's skewing the results. What we really wanted was, some sort of validation that the vote is valid. I could care less how people vote either way. Um, I just care more about data integrity and that everything is uh, just accurate. Um, I was told by Funkmaster that Notion, anytime you publish a Notion form, that anything that's public, that you don't have to have a Notion account to fill out that form. It can't be anonymous, but I'll look into that and I'll see if there are additional options that we can work around that. So if you don't feel comfortable voting at this time, totally fine. There's no mandate for that, but that's the way we have it set up. In terms of the actual candidates that we're voting for, they will not know your vote. Only the core team is going to be review this portion. So don't worry. If you have a better candidate, submit it. It's totally fine. There's no punitive retaliation or whatever if you don't support any one of these uh, community members. This really is designed for the community, and we really want you to feel represented. And there is going to be differences. Maybe one of you had a bad experience with one of these members, and you'd feel better represented by somebody else. Totally fine. That's normal. That's just life. But I'm totally fine with that. But I'll definitely look into it, Mystique, and see if I can get a solution for you. Yeah, any questions with Yieldable? Obviously, I can't speak to that. I've had a couple of conversations with Phantom on the phone about the initial white paper, and I had my own questions, and he's been constantly working at it, refining it, and making it clearer and clearer, which is awesome. But direct those questions to the Yieldable Discord, and reach out to the team and the mods, and they'll be able to answer any questions you have towards that. But from my understanding, it was a very successful project. It was modeled off a very successful project back in the last bull run. And that particular project that they modeled it after had a bad actor in the space from the founder. And so the project fizzled out. But the way he structured it with the trust and transparency, and they're remodeling it and providing more stability than that other one had, which is kind of cool. Um, let's see. Yeah, if you have Wild Tux, if you have questions for Nick, definitely reach out to them. Or if you'd like, what you can do is submit any questions or suggestions, comments, complaints, anything like that, guys. You can go to the previous announcement, not the previous announcement, but the one above that, where we have a general counsel submission. Anything that gets submitted to the team is reviewed every Thursday. So if you do have suggestions, obviously, we love constructive criticism as long as it's constructive. Um, but we would definitely prefer solutions. So with every complaint, submit a solution, and that way we can frame it. It's not just a complaint. It's something that we can take action on. Maybe there is an oversight on our part, on or an opportunity that maybe we haven't seen yet for some of the things that we're doing. So please, you know, send us as many solutions as possible. And guys, if you have talent that isn't being recognized or used for the success of the blockchain, please reach out to us. We need to leverage as much and divide the workflow as much as possible. And this is going to be a huge opportunity for those of you that can get in early to the team while things are still in humble beginnings. So please definitely do your best to reach out to us if you have any type of um, passion or efforts that you think that can strengthen the chain, such as, it's like, I'm not a web designer, guys. I'm just not. But I need things to get done, and I need it done at a low cost, because we're trying to be really responsible with the burn rate. So that's why I've done, quite of the web development for blocks and that sort of thing. But if I would love to get some support from anybody that is has talents in certain areas that we can leverage in order to really make us successful. That's ultimately the end of the goal. Yeah, thanks, Mystique. Thank you. I really appreciate all that you've done for the chain. You've been such an amazing ambassador, and I know it's complicated with everything being in one house with Exhibit, and so we're definitely doing our best to kind of manage things and divide the workload and make sure that everybody's needs are met. Okay, I think that's it, guys. Yeah, any new projects airborne, those will we're not going to be discussing any projects whatsoever as it applies to B2B. Those are, in many cases, we have NDAs that we've that we're signing with some of these. These are enterprise companies. These are and financial companies. These are not just a meme token project that has a 5,000 member community that we're bringing on board. So there is some sensitive information there. Dotto is doing an amazing job. I'm so impressed with Dotto's contributions to Vitruvio. You guys have no idea how amazing he is in terms of an asset to the blockchain. So definitely kudos to him and reach out to him and say hello. But this guy is juggling a lot right now with the B2B vertical, and things are moving quite quickly on the back end. The next spotlight, give me some time on that, Tina. Let me figure it out. I don't want to. Part of the problem that we had with the previous spotlights is doing them every 7 days was just it was it's a lot to get all the spotlights done because you have to build out the tech deck and what can you really do in 7 days. So I tried to convince Nick to go to more of a monthly spotlight, which we did, which has created a little bit of relief for us so that we can actually focus on getting things done. So now that we're scaling things out into verticals and the blockchain is complete, there's no need for weekly, I mean, even monthly spotlights, but there is still a lot of development going on. So I expect the next spotlight will be in September. The 7 projects that are waiting are external. They are Web 2 companies. I think actually maybe one of them is a Web 3 company, but these are established projects and established companies, some of which are billion-dollar companies. So these aren't little rickety companies. These are big financial entities. One of which is well, I won't get into it, but it's these are big companies. These aren't Web 3 projects. Yeah, Explore. We Nick was out of town for a week or two, and as you guys know, DevOps, which manages the blockchain, they were in Brazil. We're looking at taking DevOps in-house to save that money because DevOps costs, right around 5 grand a month. So we really want to save that money. So we're looking to take DevOps in-house. And the other problem is that if it's the weekend or we can't get in touch with somebody, it's just not working. So and there's a complex relationship there. So we're looking to take DevOps in-house. Explorer will be resolved. Tasman is going to be working on that in partnership with Nick. So we expect that to be worked out in the next day or two. Okay, guys, I think that's it. Forgive me if you had a question that was not responded to, but again, this was just a quick introduction, an initial town hall, just to say hi and just give you a little bit of update on the process. We encourage you to submit your nominations and validate the selections that we've made. If there are any changes, then we'll let the community know if everything looks good the way it is. But we will be reviewing all the content probably by Tuesday, and then we'll be producing a formal vote on Thursday. And then at that point, we'll disseminate all that information to the community and give the results. Moving forward in terms of the town hall structure is the council will be voting on any major financial or strategic decisions. An agenda will be produced in advance on what items need to be voted on, kind of a little background on those elements, and then giving you guys time to, think things through and submit your vote. And then at that point, everything is reviewed, aggregated, consolidated. And then, we'll just use AI to kind of abbreviate everything. And then at that point, we'll conduct a vote and then produce the results. So that's the overall idea and concept. Hopefully, this was valuable for you guys. I know it's a long road, but I'm very grateful for the community. I'm started in this community in humble beginnings since day one in Seifu Presale, taking me to this. I never thought that I would be involved at this level, but I'm grateful to serve the community in any way I can. Please let us know if there's anything that we could do better. Obviously, telling us to do marketing is not going to help. We know that. So, but there is a process and there are stages of development and progress. Just trust us that we're tackling the most critical problems and trying to clean up everything that we've done in the past up to this stage. Now that we have a new North Star, we have a very clear focus on what we're trying to do, and we love your support in order to accomplish that. But there's no such thing as a bad idea, so please submit any ideas, any solutions, things that you think would help benefit the community or the exchange or the blockchain as a whole. We're definitely eager to maintain that connection with the community and keep you guys involved. In any event, thank you again for everything. Thank you for the core team. Thank you for the nominees for taking the effort, guys. This is not a walk in the park. Anytime you go into leadership, you get a target on your back, and sometimes it's a thankless role, but thankfully we do have a really strong community that has really been loyal and balanced. Some of the criticism that the team and the mods get is very valid. Um, so I'm not immune to any criticism whatsoever. We are grateful for that, and sometimes emotions get high, but as long as we can do our best to stay united and stay focused on the ultimate goals, which is obviously to make Vitruvio a success, I'm confident that we can do it together and keep things moving forward. But thank you again. We'll end things here and have a great week. Take care.